6-4. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
Is back out for a three. Left wing is good. Deep to right field at the warning track. See ya.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
At the buzzer.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Huge win for Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Game day, Ducks and Beavers at PK Park tonight. 6 o'clock first pitch, 5:45 pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network. We've got the Quack Video live stream for you tonight as well. We're going to have a good time. I got the team sweatshirt. I'm ready. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. Number 6 in the RPI. That's where Oregon State sits at 31-8. The Ducks sitting at number 14 in the RPI at 26-13. This is a matchup of two of the teams that have put together some of the better resumes in the country. Of the 300-plus Division I baseball teams, these are two top 14 programs. They're in the state of Oregon, and they're matching up for the first of 5 games here this evening. That's right. This is going to be a fun game at PK Park. What's on the line? Well, it doesn't count toward the Pac-12 standings, but it sure does count toward that postseason resume. And I actually just talked with Mark Wazakowski for the Toyota Coaches Corner that you'll hear on the pregame tonight. And I said, Coach, hey, this is a rivalry game. Sure, this is a big game for, everything. What's on your mind? He said, well, first of all, we want to win the state. We played Portland twice, beat them twice. Now they got 5 against Oregon State. They want to be the best team in the state. Feel like if you're the best team in the state, probably going to be one of the best teams in the conference, probably one of the best teams in the country. That's what's on the horizon for Oregon right now. That's Oregon baseball coming up tonight. Also, Melyssa Lombardi, Oregon softball head coach, is going to join us. We'll talk with her about what has truthfully been a tough weekend. Got swept by Washington, but Oregon is still in the top 25 rankings. The Ducks are sitting toward the bottom of the Pac-12 standings. Fans are still coming out. It's been awesome to see fans at Jane Sanders Stadium. Makes a difference, and this is rivalry week for Oregon softball. They've got Oregon State coming to town. Need to get a few wins here toward the end of the season. 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock. That's the schedule for Oregon softball this weekend, which, by the way, is perfect because Oregon baseball plays at 2 o'clock on Saturday, then 6 o'clock over at the Jane. I love it. Someone like me who's always with Oregon baseball get the chance to go over to the Jane this weekend? I'm here for that. I like when the schedule gets separated, and truthfully, I kind of like when the teams are alternating home and road a little bit more than they have this year. That's the plan coming up, at least for me, this weekend. So we'll talk with Coach Lombardi. Track and field, some big honors coming in for them, along with acrobatics and tumbling. Men's golf, some updates from the Pac-12 championships going on today, and a ton more spring game recap for you, including some pro Ducks that we talked to on the sideline, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun on Saturday at the spring game. Also, Kenny Dillingham, Oregon offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator Tosh Lupoi. They met with the media yesterday right before we got on the air. We've got those interviews for you to kick off Duck Insider today. So if you're joining us live across the Oregon Sports Network or via one of the various streams, YouTube, Facebook, any questions, let me know. But in the meantime, let's find out who's going to play quarterback for the Ducks in the fall. Let's find out if the Ducks have a timeline for naming a starting quarterback, and let's find out what Kenny Dillingham, the offensive coordinator, thought of his offense's performance in the spring game. Here's Kenny Dillingham.
That first play to 7, that planned for a while, you knew you were going to take a big shot on the first play?
Yeah, I mean, we just wanted to be aggressive. You want to put pressure on the defense, so we tried to treat the spring game like a game.
How much of what this offense is going to be in the fall, do you feel like we saw here, and how much more install is left for the fall?
I mean, I wouldn't know if there's a ton of install. I mean, every game you're going to have specific plays that you install specifically for that game. So I think we've gotten the base of it in, right? We're now to that point where, you got to put some game plan things in. But I would say the base of it's in.
A couple days to maybe review just what happened in the game day atmosphere. Just what are your takeaways from it?
Unbelievable atmosphere. I mean, over 40,000 people at a spring game, loud. I mean, when they played shout and going into the fourth quarter, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I'm in the box and it's sunny. The skies are blue, and I oversee the mountains right from the box, and the crowd's going crazy. And then in the far corner, you see a snow-top mountain, right? And it's just like pretty cool place. Pretty cool place.
You guys are pretty deep at wide receiver, saw some good performances on Saturday. What's your kind of philosophy on like the 4 wide receiver set? Because you just want to get those guys on the field, I would think.
They just want to put your best players on the field and give them the best position to be successful. I mean, that's what this offense is about, is how can we get our playmakers in space, who are the playmakers, and how do we get them in space?
How do you think Troy and Dante in particular, from what you inherited getting here to where they are now at the end of 15 practices, how different are they? How much more developed are they after the last 6 weeks? I think Coach Adams is one of the best wideout coaches in the profession. When you look at his track record of developing wide receivers, and I think those guys are, some of his next pupils that are going to follow in the footsteps of some of the guys like Cooper Kupp that he's had in his past, and they've just come to work every day, and that entire room has just grown so much, top to bottom. Curious in your opinion on this, in overhauling any position group on offense, what do you think is the most difficult in general? Not saying here now in this instance, but in general, do you think is quarterback the most difficult? Is the wide receiver room the most difficult?
I think it depends. I think it just depends on your roster than the team dynamics. I think anytime that those situations happen, it's more team dynamic. Football is about culture. It's about developing a culture more than it is X's and O's. I mean, all the plays that we had all spring, they sound really, really good. But if your guys don't have we talked about it today, the practice afterwards, if we didn't have a willing to compete and go get better today, then nothing matters. Absolutely nothing matters if we don't have the culture and the mindset of the growth of today's practice is what is going to define the football team, because that's the last thing we had.
Can you speak to Chase Carter's ability to make some contested catches? He had 6 catches for 100 yards, but there were some catches that kind of wowed the crowd. He had some really contested catches over and between defenders. Can you just talk about his performance? Yeah,
I think he did a really nice job. I mean, guy who came in and, going back to the culture piece, our guys love him. When you're a transfer and you come in, there's 2 types of vibes you could get. You could be the outcast, or you could be one of the guys. And our guys, you see them posting on social media about Coda and the vet and all that stuff. And it's great to see our guys just embrace him, because this is home for Chase. And to see him make plays, to see our guys embrace him is pretty special.
How do you keep up the momentum that you and the players have built up throughout the spring and keep it going into the fall and the summer?
I think it's about work. I mean, you gotta buy into the growth. I mean, we talk a ton of the growth mindset, which means good play, bad play, doesn't matter. How can you grow? So I think it's all about, can our guys continue to have the mindset of growth? What can I do today to grow? Good, bad, and different, it doesn't matter. Can I get better? Can I grow from it? There's always something to grow from.
As a whole, how is this spring ball compared to maybe other places you've been in? Now that it's kind of done and you can look at it in retrospect.
I mean, I think our guys worked. That goes into the growth mindset. Growth mindset people don't compare to other people. So I'm not going to do that. Growth mindset is the very best we can be. And I truly believe our guys, it was funny because Seven McGee, he said it even after the game in his media, I made some good plays, but what can I get better at? When you start to hear our guys say that, when you start to, and you can feel it at times in the meeting room, that they fully believe that, man, if I just keep getting better every day, if I can grow, that's how you become really, really good. And I think that is, to answer your question, kind of a scapegoat out. But I felt like our guys started to buy into that belief that we just got to get better every single day.
We didn't see Byron on Saturday, but what have you seen from him this spring to give you the confidence that he can be a lead?
Phenomenal. I mean, Byron did a great job for us this spring. I think he had a scrimmage where he had like 170 yards or something like that, where he just went off. So I think he did a good job, and I'm fired up to see him this fall.
After watching film a little bit, how would you assess the quarterback room on Saturday?
Yeah, we got to get better. I think we put the ball in jeopardy too many times. I think we had two throws that caused interceptions, and we had 4 to 5 misreads that we put the ball in jeopardy when we didn't have to, because we didn't account for that player with our eyes. Anytime you don't account for a player with your eyes, you're putting the ball in jeopardy because you don't know who's back there. And I think we did that 4 or 5 times, and it's something to grow from, and I think we watched the tape, and hopefully we get it corrected.
Even if there's competition to continue at the position, how do you leave spring in terms of Bo, Ty, Jay?
Yeah, I love where we are. I think we got a really, really deep quarterback room. I think we got a ton of talent in that room, and I think they've gotten better. And I mean, if you talk to all of them, we all talk about the growth they've made just from how they think about the game, the growth they've made in pass protections, right? It's a completely different way to attack, and I think they've gotten a lot better, and I'm really pleased with where they are.
What do you have to do between now and the start of fall camp?
There's specific goals. I think, Ty, we're trying to bring his eyes with his feet more. Bo, we're trying to not make a bad play worse, right? And Jay, all we're trying to do is get his drops down a little bit quicker so we can get the ball a little faster. So I think they all have an individual goal to grow off of, and I think they can take that into the summer and they can try to improve and try to grow.
Is there a target date for when you want to have a starter identified? Nope.
I love that from Kenny Dillingham. So I want to tell everybody, after he answered that question, which is, nope, I don't have a target date, he kind of backed up and it was like, anybody else? And he was like, rattled y'all with that one, didn't I? He has fun with it. I love that. And look, there isn't a target date. The Ducks want competition going into the fall. And it's always interesting because you ask this question about the quarterback, because the quarterback is arguably the most important position in all of sports. I mean, I think we can agree with that, right? Like, the quarterback is probably the most important position. It's certainly the most scrutinized position in all of sports. And I feel like there's going to be competition at so many different spots, but we're only asking about the quarterback. Coach Dillingham, would you like to have a starter at running back named at some point? Do you have a timeline? Nope. Coach, do you have a timeline on your wide receivers? Nope. Do you have a timeline on your offensive line? Nah. Kenny Dillingham, Oregon offensive coordinator. When we come back, let's talk defense with Tosh Lupoi, Oregon defensive coordinator, after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Tonight, Oregon baseball against the Beavers. It's a top 25 matchup in pretty much every poll. It's a top 14 matchup in terms of the RPI and where the two teams stand. This is a fun week for the Ducks. You get Oregon baseball against the Beavs, then you get Oregon softball against the Beavs this weekend. Yeah, this is going to be a good day. Look, Beavers are good. So are the Ducks. Talking to Mark Wasikowski, it's going to come down to pitching. We're going to see a lot of different arms out there for Oregon tonight. Who's up to the task? Containing that Beaver offense. And then for the Ducks, I think they're going to score some runs tonight. I got faith. I understand that if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, there's a slight drizzle outside. It's fine. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be perfect weather for Oregon baseball. Tosh Lupoi, the Oregon defensive coordinator, met with the media yesterday. Had some fun talking with the media as well. You'll hear a little bit of that. Defensive coordinator Tosh Lupoi, what he think of the spring, what's on the horizon for his defense. A lot to unpack with Tosh Lupoi.
Callers, havoc makers.
Yes.
Thoughts on who those guys are after Saturday?
You know, it's a revolving door, man. It's a competition every single day. So we do a lot of charting of causing havoc, having plays that disrupt the offense, sacks, TFLs, interceptions, PBUs, batted balls, and it's a constant competition that the guys have done a really good job embracing. So it's always changing. And it's really cool to see these guys compete, get after the ball.
DJ has a huge day on Saturday. What had he showed you of the prior 13 practice? Was that actually indicative of what he's shown the last month, or was that just the biggest day after building up to that point?
Yeah, it really. I think he's a special individual because he's his own hardest critic. So he's constantly, trying to find ways, study the game. He's a guy that's really active, hitting me up, and putting in the extra work of what it takes, to try to catch the edge. And so, obviously him playing a lot more offense and tight end, I think he felt a little behind, in the beginning. So he's done a nice job progressing. And like you saw, there's flashes of greatness there. So he knows he still has some things to go get better at, and he will. And we're going to attack that together. But I'm really excited about the future with him.
What do you think? The top guy on that list this spring?
What's that?
Who was the top guy on the list for spring?
The top guy?
For creating the havoc and all those categories you listed off.
Question. We'd have to do an accumulative, ending of spring, and then maybe within the NCAA rules, of course, there could be a prize. So I'm not sure. We really, day by day, we chart it, and it's kind of a daily competition. So I'm not sure as far as the cumulative winner, but we should probably go look at that. Then I'll get back to you.
Braden Switson had a big day the other day. He had 2 or 3 would-be sacks. Can you speak to his growth and what you expect to see from him this season?
Yeah, I think he's another guy that's attacked the process the right way. He's hungry to improve. He knows that there's plenty of room for improvement. I think one challenge to him is, he at one point he was, I think he was 280 pounds at one point in his career here, and then he dropped way down, and he's progressing the right way. So I think as he packs on some good muscle weight and adapts to that weight, he's going to get more and more comfortable of setting the edge and causing some havoc for us.
Where does he fit positionally? Is he outside linebacker, defensive end, hybrid, both?
Yeah, we run a versatile system. So, a lot of times he's gonna play what looks like a defensive end, and he's also going to be an outside backer for us, depending on what package we're in. I think he's embraced that. He's done a real nice job mentally as well, as we tax him, with some of the volume of our defense.
Can you speak to just the development of the defensive line? You had some guys who had a lot of starts in their careers here, not take part much in spring ball, and just far along has this group come without them, and just what will it be like getting them back in the fall?
Yeah, I think it was a great opportunity for guys, with Keon being out and Popo and Brandon, a couple others. So some guys got some really cool opportunities to attempt to master their craft that they might have not gotten as many opportunities in the past. So I think Coach Tuioti has done a kick-ass job of really developing that group. A guy like Trevin, really stood out where the beginning of spring, you compare that to, even the scrimmage and just our last week. I think he's really progressed. He's a guy that, we want to count on. And that's among some other guys, a guy like a newcomer, Taki, that's made an impact inside. I think these guys know we're certainly not where we want to be, but we're definitely headed in the right direction.
When Jared Greenfield rejoins the program and then is obviously earning his way back in a way, but has the kind of spring game that he does, was that indicative of the message he's trying to send and trying to rejoin you guys and put himself in the best position to play for you, be a contributor, get back in the good graces?
Yeah, we're pumped to have him, and demand a lot out of him, and he's really responded the right way. I don't really know all the details of what occurred in the past, and as long as they're not representing our program the wrong way, that has nothing to do with us. So he's had a clean start, and he's embraced that, and he's responded to the challenge well, and he knows we're going to coach him hard, and we've kind of tested him a little early on to see how he responds. And he's done a nice job doing that. So I'd love to see him, be in the position to compete and contribute for us.
How much more install is there to go through throughout the summer months?
We really we try to cycle through the majority of our install. We like to give it to them. You got a limited time with them before we get started, and it's really a focus of implementing the culture and focusing on the strength and conditioning. But now we are allowed to do a little football before spring ball. What we try to do is cycle through, so a little bit of starting over in spring ball and progressing to the end again, and then we'll continue that process. So with goals of guys making an immediate impact early in their career, that's been a really cool recipe for us to do it that way. And then veterans that go through maybe a day one call again, we're not going to coach them the same, but we might focus on the same call, for example, and give the veterans variables within the formations and kind of more day one stuff as other newcomers come along, like the kids that will be joining us around June 18th.
Coach Lanning said he hasn't seen another defensive coach put such an emphasis on turnovers and interceptions, things like that. And I know there was 3 interceptions on Saturday. What was your view from the sideline from that? How did you see your players perform?
I mean, that's the expectation. It's no secret. If we can get the ball back for the offense, it's going to increase our chances to win. So I don't know why we wouldn't put a huge premium on that. So there's a 30-year NFL study that really personifies that. So if I knew we were going to call a specific call, and I could call that 40 times and that would equal a 67% chance to win, then I would probably call it even more than that, right? But that we all know that's not the case. So this is, it's a proven fact that if we can be a +1 or +2 or +3 ratio in the turnover stat, we greatly increase our chances to win. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to constantly reinforce that, and that's part of our defensive culture, is to get the ball out.
So what do you want to? What do you?
Going into the secondary, coach, a couple of defensive backs had some strong days in the spring game. How do you kind of approach towing that fine line of being aggressive and jamming a guy at the line of scrimmage and maybe giving some space when there's some speedy guys? We probably really don't walk the fine line. We want to be extremely aggressive and confrontational. We want to play press coverage. We want to operate out of man match quarters. Our Ripley's match system in cover 3, and then complement that as well with some zone. So, and try to do our best to, mix up things, offer disguises, and then pressure off those looks as well. So, we want to be really aggressive. That's the system I come from and I believe in, Coach Lanning as well. And we really want to be the dictator at the end of the day. So we're going to, constantly try to challenge our players to embrace that. And really function with the rush and coverage working together.
What do you want as far as what's next for you the next few months, and what do you want to see from your players during this time?
It's a cool looking hat, man.
Oh, thank you.
Reminds me of one of our blitzes. We should. Sorry, what'd you say?
What does the post spring look like for you, and what do you want to see from your players?
Yeah, we really want to focus. Target an individual development piece to each guy. So I think over my career, when we try to challenge the guys, we all could, myself included, could get better at a lot of things. So if you pick out 7 of them, sometimes you kind of become a jack of all trades and a master of none. We're really not trying to do that. So we're going to really target one thing. So every single player is going to come into every coach, and we're going to have, just one thing and start it there. That might be how somebody finishes. That might be my eye control and discipline within man coverage as a defensive back. That might be, the timing of my pressures as an inside backer. There's various things we can focus on, and then give then a plan of action of how I can improve that. Once that starts to get improved, now we can go on to the next thing.
Back to Trevin, off-season, part of the recruiting calendar at this time of year, but the satellite camp element exploded after when you moved on to the NFL. What's going to be your sales pitch on the recruiting trail here, and then what are you looking to identify in those camps that you guys will be going to?
Yeah, as far as a sales pitch, I mean, that's one of the main reasons I'm here. There's not, you don't have to be a car salesman to represent this place and understand how special it is, So you're at a place where you can consistently compete for a national title. You're at least in position that you possibly can. You're at a place where you're going to consistently coach top 10 picks, and you're at a place that's arguably connected better than any other program in the world when it comes to the relationships, the Nike relationships, the alumni association that's a part of this place. So I think the place more so sells itself. As far as the camps, I've been in the National Football League for the last 3 years, and I'm going to have to be guided on as far as the camps and where we're going, but we'll probably end up where some of the best prospects are.
Back to Trevin, I was just going to ask, what is his ceiling as a player? He's a player that's gained a lot of weight since he's gotten here, transformed his body, played different positions, and what does he need to do to reach that?
Well, I think our system really benefits if you look at the history of not just the Alabama blueprint, but even before that, University of Washington and back to Cal with Cameron Jordan and Tyson Alualu, and we really function and like a versatile but bigger, stronger defensive end type guy, outside backer guy. That's the history of what I've coached over the years. So Trevin has answered that well. He's fine-tuned his body, and I think he's more and more comfortable now, and he's really improved. I mean, I think the strength staff and the medical staff, chief, and all of them have done a great job too. Like his balance and body control has changed the direction. He's improved, and that's shown out on the field.
I'm curious. Last question. With Justin Flo, I know he's only been up and running for a little bit, but what are your kind of initial thoughts working with him?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I know he is, and I am too. And we tried our best to slowly progress him, but there's not really that gear in his body. So we did a few walkthroughs, and they turned into full speed for him. So we had to slow him down. And but I'd much rather be coaching a guy that you got to ask him to slow down rather than have to constantly encourage him to speed up.
Tosh Lupoi, Oregon defensive coordinator. I think a lot of excitement around his defense, and why not? I think that there's a lot of good things happening around here with those guys at the helm. When we come back, Melyssa Lombardi, Oregon softball head coach, will join us. A tough weekend. The Ducks dropped the series to Washington and in a little bit of a rut right now. How do they get out of it? We're going to talk with Coach Lombardi about that. Go through the weekend, and it's senior day coming up this weekend against the Beavers. Got to get that series win at the Jane. When we come back talking softball, still some track and field, acro, more football, all on the horizon on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece. And it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Is that a
faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack, joined by Melyssa Lombardi, Oregon softball head coach. Coach, thanks for always taking the time to come in and chat with us. We'll look back on the weekend a little bit, and then you guys have a busy, jam-packed weekend coming up with the Pink game. It's going to be Senior Day, Bark in the Park. That's all on the horizon, so some fun. But, hey, looking back on the weekend, it was a tough one for you guys. Felt like you just never put together that complete game. What was your recap with your squad?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we were putting runs on the board, but then from there, just not able to outmatch the opponent. We'd put runs on the board, and they would come right back and put runs on the board. And that's the Pack. That's what it's about. It's it's a grind.
I think about baseball and softball games a lot in terms of like a boxing match. Like, so you and I have talked about this before, like the analogy of if you throw the haymaker in the first inning, well, you might not get the knockout punch because they can keep coming back in the second, third, fourth, throughout the course of a game. How much do you feel that the ebb and flow of a game, the momentum of a back and forth, like you mentioned, you have to get that run back if you give one up, sort of a thing, that matters over the course of a game?
Yeah, it does, and it's tough. It's it can wear on you a little bit physically and mentally, but that is the Pack, and that's what it's about. The Pack is tough. It is a grind, and you got to put runs on the board, and then know that that's not enough, and you got to keep putting runs on the board. And I think our offense has done a great job with that. It's just for us being able to keep runs off the board, to limit our free passes, to limit balls, going out of the park, to limit the damage that our opponent does, and we didn't limit that enough this weekend.
Limiting damage, you mentioned like giving up the free pass. That can really hurt a team, right? I know the home run, you don't want to give up the home run, but sometimes maybe as a coach, would you rather give up the home run than the free bag in front of the home run, sort of a thing?
For sure. We're going to give up home runs. We are. In our sport, it's definitely going to happen. It's just about limiting them and keeping them to solos, by a hit by pitch or a walk, or a couple things that that happen in front of it, and then the bomb comes. That's when it's tough.
Here's the obvious question: what's the next step to limiting those runs? What's that key, the click moment for your squad this year?
I think the biggest thing is just continuing to manage our counts. How quickly can we get the opponent to 0-2, 1-2, and then put them away? And you saw that this weekend. We had some really good games where we would get them 0-2, 1-2, and put them away. I just think that one, a couple free passes, and then the ball leaves the yard. Yeah. That's where we've got to be able to limit. That's it.
It's like winning every pitch, almost. Like you can win and lose every pitch. Melyssa Lombardi joining us, Oregon softball head coach. So I know that you guys probably aren't going to look at this maybe as much as I do, but you guys are number 21 in the RPI. You've played the 5th toughest strength of schedule. That's not just the Pac-12. That's your out-of-conference schedule. Yeah, from earlier in the year. You're still number 23 in the NFCA poll, number 24 in the USA softball poll. 17 of your 26 wins are against teams in the RPI top 100. Do those metrics mean much to you right now, just to sort of give like an idea of, hey, I know we've lost some close games, but the resume might still be there for a postseason?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our body of work, it's there. It's finishing strong. We've got 2 series left, and it's about us finishing strong. I think about us going into postseason and saying, oh, this is the team we're going to face, and this is what they look like. We've already faced them.
Yeah.
We've already dealt with that. We've seen every type of pitcher, every type of offense, every type of anything that we can see, in postseason. We've already seen it up to this point. To me, it's just really finishing strong with our series at home against Oregon State and then going on the road against Stanford.
You've already surpassed last season's home run total.
Yeah.
You guys have hit 57 this year. You hit 54 all of last year. What's been the key to the power over the course of this entire season?
Yeah, I just think the stuff that we've been doing in the fall, what we've been doing in the weight room, Coach KJ's been huge for that. Just this is our first year with her, and the things that she's implemented in the weight room, I think it has allowed us to be stronger at the plate. I think what Coach Martyr has done, our hitting coach, with our athletes and what she's brought to the table just in her first year shows that she's a really, really good hitting coach, and that we are going to just continue to thrive offensively.
The long ball changes a game. We've talked about that before, and it feels like with the way that your offense is played, and I'm kind of curious your perspective, but whenever I'm listening and watching your guys' games, and a lot of times, truthfully, I'm actually watching and calling the baseball game at the same time. Broadcasting is multitasking. I don't know if you've ever heard my my spiel on this, but I'm really curious because it feels like you guys are never out of a game because of that home run.
Never out of a game. You look at what we've done this year and how many runs we've scored with 2 outs, how many times we've come back in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning and put runs on the board to score games. So my belief in this team, 100. I know what we need to do to finish strong, and I believe that these guys will finish strong.
I do want to ask you about an individual. Tara McGowan's hitting nearly 400 in Pac-12 play since coming back from injury. That's impressive.
Yeah, Tara's good. She's good. I mean, that shows like we haven't had her all year. We had her the first weekend, part of the second weekend, and then didn't get her back to the pack. So
is there something to be said when you have a player coming back like that too, like the way that it fits in a lineup and you kind of have a rhythm to a lineup? I mean, it feels like maybe she's found that now at this point in the year.
For sure. One, it extends our lineup. But two, I just think the confidence that she has for herself at the plate creates confidence for the rest.
We've talked a lot about your ability to steal bases and how that can change the game too. You're still first in the Pac-12 in steals per game. If you're on the other side and getting ready to face you guys, how difficult is that to face a team that has that much speed like Oregon does?
I think it makes you question a little bit how, pitches that you want to call in certain counts because you feel like they're going to possibly take off. So I think it could take you a little bit out of what you typically want to do as a coach. So
fans will want me to ask this. Any personnel updates? Anybody coming back this weekend?
Yes. We missed Rachel Sid last weekend, and I'm excited to have her back in.
How big is it to have her back? I mean, there's the obvious question now for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's big. It's big. She's doing really, really well in the pack right now. We lost her bat last weekend, so it's nice to have her back.
A lot of good things coming up this weekend. I'm always fascinated by the pink game because it's something that's happened at Oregon for a long time. Oregon's one of the first to ever do the pink game, and now you see them all across college athletics. Just how special of a day is that, and for fans coming out too?
I think it's really special because I think all parties involved, whether us as coaches, our players, our fans, we've all had loved ones that have had to deal with cancer and have fought through and won the battles of cancer, and then also, we have lost loved ones to it as well. So I just think, we all show up to the Jane because we love the sport of softball, but to be able to show up to the Jane for something, to me, that's bigger than softball, I think is pretty special.
That is. It's really special. I do want to shout out to the fans because it was a near sellout on Spring Game Saturday on Duck Day. It was an entertaining game, to say the least, going into extra innings. I mean, I think fans didn't end up on the right side of the ledger, but fans certainly enjoyed that softball game. What was that energy like this past weekend? And the fans have just been they've showed up for you guys all year.
The energy that, I was not able to be at the Cal series, and that energy was huge there. And I'm like, gosh, I can't wait to see what it feels like. I've felt it as an opponent and hated it. Yeah. So to be able to feel it as a Duck, and it's electrifying. I love it. That is why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because of the energy that we get every time we get to play at the Jane.
4th nationally in attendance. So well done, fans. Well done. It makes a difference, doesn't it?
Home field advantage makes a humongous difference, and that's why we need our fans to come out this weekend and support us against Oregon State.
Rivalry.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I need to say much more than just it's a rivalry. And I was going to ask you, as I always do for your scouting report, can I guess what it might be? They're pretty good. They're in the Pac-12.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like that's my statement for everybody we play. Because that's just
accurate.
what it is. That's what it is. The Pac is tough.
It is.
But that's why we love it. It's tough.
Bark in the Park this weekend. So here's a hard-hitting question for you.
Okay.
Does a 4-legged creature count in our attendance total at the Jane? Like, could we end up with like 4,000 at the Jane if we can count the dogs?
Hey, I think they should be able to be counted.
Okay. I don't know who's in charge of that on the softball side from a ticketing perspective, but I think that for the count, that's going to be important. Also, Senior Day is coming up. You guys are going to honor some seniors. I feel like that's kind of a bittersweet day, isn't it?
It is. It is, because you get to honor them for what they've done and their accomplishments and what they've brought to our team, but then also knowing that it's, in season, it could be their last time to play at the Jane.
Yeah. Let's hope it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hope moving forward. All right, we'll end with this. Just keys to success. To sum it up, if you could, for us after our 10-minute conversation, just what's it going to take to be successful this weekend?
I think all 3 cylinders. We talk about all 3 cylinders. Can we have offense, defense, and pitching all moving in the same direction? And when we have that going, you really get to see how talented this team is. And that's where you see the body of work, that we've done up to this point. The reason why is because we have all 3 cylinders firing at the same time.
Ducks are leading the Pac-12 in doubles. 6 starters that are over 20-plus in RBI, 6 starters hitting 300-plus. Couple that with a complete game, I think you're gonna like the results. And also, it's Ducks and Beavs. Baseball plays the Beavs tonight, too, so it's kind of a big Oregon week. You got to win the state, right? That's always a key.
Yes.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you taking the time. When we come back, we're going to go through a little bit more of softball, acrobatics, and tumbling, honoring some seniors actually as well with some accolades. That's all coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too. Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too. Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/one small step. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. My thanks to Melyssa Lombardi for joining us. They're going through a tough spot right now, but they're still ranked in all the polls. I mean, that just tells you how tough the Pac-12 has been. Looking forward to seeing them against the Beavs this upcoming weekend. Before we talk acrobatics and tumbling and we get to a little bit of men's golf, I got to tell you, Oregon track and field Don't look now, but they have been racking up not just some great times, but some awards from the Pac-12. Reed Brown, Anita Kornichek, and Ty Hampton have collected Pac-12 Athlete of the Week accolades. That was announced this morning by the league office. They swept the men's and women's track honors, while Hampton was named the top men's field performer. Not bad. The Ducks also had a recognition for the Pac-12 Women's Field Athlete of the Week about a month ago. That means that this is the first time since 2012 that the Ducks have swept all 4 of those individual awards in the same season. I'll be honest, when I read that from Zach Lawson, Sports Information Director for Oregon Track and Field, I didn't believe him. I was like, there's no way that it's been a decade since Oregon has swept the individual honors, men and women on the track, men and women on the field. It's true. Pretty amazing. Brown knocked more than 2 seconds off his lifetime best in the invitational section of the 1,500 meters. That showing made him the Pac-12 leader by more than a second and moves him to number 3 in the NCAA this season, competing for a national championship. Additionally, Brown became the 5th fastest performer in Oregon history as part of his 1,500 impressive performance. In the winning steeplechase on the opening night of the Oregon relays, Kornichek stepped on the clock, She stepped across the line and stopped the clock, 9:44.72. That's a new Pac-12 leading time. It's the 5th fastest time in the NCAA this season. It was a stride-for-stride battle, actually, down the stretch, and she ended up winning for a group of 4 women that were under 9:55 in the race. So an impressive field, to say the least, at the Oregon relays. That steeplechase was the first for her since representing Poland at last summer's Olympics in Tokyo. She's the reigning Pac-12 champion in the event. Okay, pretty solid performance. And Hampton unleashed a conference-leading javelin toss in the Oregon relays, a mark that is currently ranked 5th in the NCAA this season. He also moved to number 3 on the Oregon all-time list with the program's longest throw since 2012. 2012 was a good year. Ducks had some great individual performances. They swept those Pac-12 individual weekly honors in one season. Ducks did that again this year. The Ducks will split for 2 meets this weekend, the OSU High Performance in Corvallis and the Desert Heat Classic in Tucson, Arizona. Teams back at Hayward Field on May 6th, the Oregon Twilight. Which, I know there's so many great events at Hayward Field. The Oregon Twilight might be my favorite. It always seems like it's the perfect evening at Hayward Field. Just the sunset when they come around the Bowerman Curve. I don't know that there's anything quite like that in track and field. More info, GoDucks.com. Get your tickets because the Pac-12 and NCAA championships are going to be here before you know it, and tickets are currently on sale. So congratulations to that trifecta of Ducks with those weekly honors. Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling. Seniors Alyssa Hugh, and Sarah Buchner got championship week started on a high note. They earned national recognition days before the national championships. 2 days from today in Eugene, the Ducks hosting the NCATA championships. I'm glad, though, that I just made that mistake on the air because it very well could be an NCAA championship here before too long. As that sport continues to grow, that's cool to see, everybody. That's really cool to see. Hugh earned NCATA All-American honors for the 2nd year in a row, becoming Oregon's 10th two-time All-American. The Canadian was Oregon's go-to tumbler in the open pass, where she never scored below a 9.8. That's on a scale out of 10, by the way. She was the only Duck to compete in every event over the course of the season, while also serving as a top base and tumbler in the team event. Now, Buchner was named to the NCATA All-Academic team for the first time. Senior was one of 4 members on the 8-person team with a 4.0 GPA. On the mat, the New Jersey native helped the Ducks score a 9.70 or better in every compulsory pyramid event over the course of the year. She also emerged as a contributor in aerial tumbling against Azusa Pacific. That was Oregon's best score in the heat when she was in it since 2016. In addition to Buchner, 22 Ducks earned NCATA honor roll recognition for their work in the classroom. The Ducks back on the mat this weekend, NCATA National Championship. Meet start at 11 a.m. on Thursday. Number 5, Oregon, at 7 p.m. in Matthew Knight Arena. The meet will be streamed on ESPN+, which is a really cool addition to the NCATA championships this year. Fans can purchase all-session tickets for the championships via GoDucks.com. Click on the acrobatics and tumbling section. You'll find what you're looking for. That acrobatics and tumbling national championship going to be here before we know it. Yesterday, men's golf, Yuki Moriyama, he shot rounds of 68 and 69 to lead Oregon on the first day of the Pac-12 championships. And Moriyama was tied for third at 5 under, 137, while Oregon was fifth in the Pac-12 after the 2 rounds yesterday at 7 over. Round 3 of the Pac-12 championships today. We'll have an update for you coming up tomorrow. When we come back, going to talk a little bit more spring football, preview baseball tonight. A lot more to come. A Tuesday edition of Duck Insider. We've barely just begun, and we're almost done. After this, we're back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece. And it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can step, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can step, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon baseball tonight, more on that coming up. But we're going to continue with our spring football. There were so many post-game interviews. We couldn't get to them all yesterday, even if we tried. We're not going to get to them all today either. We're going to continue our conversation about spring football, kind of wrapping things up tomorrow. Alex Forsyth, after the spring game, he talked with the media. His thoughts on the offensive line, the growth of the team, what the offseason looks like. One of the leaders on the offensive line, big number 78, Alex Forsyth.
All the time here, like the chorus of like, I wish they would open up the offense.
Yeah.
Do offensive linemen like ever think like that, or is it just like such a one focus mindset for you guys?
Yeah, that's not a dumb question at all. That's a really good question. For us, I think for me personally, it's always like I'm going to run whatever play we have, and we're going to block as long as we need to block. So I think for us, it's not a whole lot changes. Especially throughout the season, it's kind of just like we have our plays set in. They can change the route concepts all they want, but for us, the blocking remains like pretty much the same. So the only thing that changed for us is like run scheme stuff. But I thought it was really cool because like if you're going to pass the ball, you may as well throw it like as far as you can.
If you have like a 70-yard explosion play that goes for a touchdown, like which one of you offensive linemen are like huffing the most when you get like what's the procedure for getting to the end zone? Like who gets dibs on who lifts the guy up?
I think it just depends on the drive. I remember Ohio State last year. It was like 70 yards, and it was like I remember just seeing CJ go up the middle for a run, and I remember Ryan and I were kind of trailing in the back. And I started running. I started cramping up. I was like, nope. I was like, somebody else can lift him up. And then, so I just celebrated in the back with the quarterback. I'm usually a quarterback celebration guy because that means I don't have to sprint down the field. But eventually I'll get down the field and give kudos to the running back because the quarterbacks never really get a whole lot of credit when they make the big play. So I like to celebrate with them first, celebrate with one or two linemen, then make my way to the skill player who actually made the play.
Has it been
like going against this defensive line every day, particularly Sam Taimani, who's, you've gone against before at Washington, but, it looked like he was doing some work up there as well. What was it like to go against him on the stage like this?
Yeah, he's a big dude, really strong, probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest defensive lineman in the Pac-12. That's really good for us to go up against because you don't see that, a whole lot, especially in the teams that we played in the past. But I think for him, just going against him every day, he's a great defensive lineman. He's gotten a lot better with his hands and pass rush. So he's challenged us every day, and we've challenged him every day. So it's been great to battle back and forth with him. And the whole D-line's really stepped up with, we had some guys limited and some guys out. So I think for us, it's been huge for development.
The biggest thing you took away from Coach Clem this spring, what would it be?
Biggest thing, I think just the consistency with our technique and, trying to become more consistent to what he wants for our technique. And he's really persistent about making sure we have to know what to do, how to do it, why we're doing it, and pretty much just go execute in a live action scenario. Because I think it's easy once you get into individual periods, like, okay, I know the technique, and then you get in the team drill, and it's like just kind of all goes out the window. So for us, he's been really understanding of like, hey, you guys have been taught something like completely different the past few years. Now we're just kind of rewiring. So for us, it's been good because he hasn't been easy on us, but he's been understanding that we've been doing some different stuff, and I think the whole line has just kind of dropped down their guard and just been like, okay, let's be vulnerable, let's learn these new techniques and really put it together in a team setting.
And what was it like seeing it out there actually in a game situation?
Yeah, it's good because a lot of the technique he teaches we haven't done before, but once you do it, you'll like drive a guy like 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, and he's like, yeah, that's what we teach it. So I think for us seeing that, it's cool to see guys have success with it. Nobody's going to be perfect on any play, so we'll go back and watch the film and just correct it.
You've been great.
People are going to watch the spring game and outside the program and get super excited of the offense and the explosiveness. Just how important is the consistency of this day every day? And just have you seen that in spring ball?
Yeah, no, I think I have. Obviously when the defense scripts against the offense, when they script it, you can kind of get discouraged during the practices. Like, oh, we ran inside zone and they brought 5 guys, like they ran a stunt and all this stuff. It's like, okay, well, that's because it's scripted. But when you get in a setting like this and kind of all bets are off and you're just calling plays against each other, I think that's where it's exciting because then you get more of a realistic picture. And now, obviously, it is a spring game, but I think the offense had a really, really explosive days on both sides of the ball, and both teams really executed. We took some shots downfield, and it was really encouraging to see, all of our young wide receivers and a lot of our skill guys, get into it and really absorb the new offense.
Great stuff from Alex Forsyth, the Oregon offensive lineman. I imagine that we're going to see Alex Forsyth starting at the center spot. Just has done so many good things from a leadership perspective for this team, and then also on the field. You saw, I think, a drop-off when he wasn't healthy last year. Looking forward to seeing Alex Forsyth back out there for the Ducks here. Along with that entire offensive line, now that they're a little healthier, I think that there's some good things coming up. Quicker than we may know it for this Oregon football team. Yeah. Before we get out of here, baseball tonight. Oregon State, let's go Ducks. PK Park, 6 o'clock. We've got the broadcast for you starting at 5:45. Oregon State. Look, it's the battle for the state. All right, you win this game, you're feeling really good heading into the weekend. Peeves have lost some midweeks. See you tonight at PK Park.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the